So I'm Jenny. I work in the RSPB's investigations team, and we assist the police with investigating cases of raptor persecution. So we might get reports from members of the public. If you guys have seen anything, we really encourage people actually to contact the police and ourselves, because these are often the starting blocks that lead to a prosecution. So one we're currently dealing with involves a red kite, which was found by a member of the public, seemingly dead on the ground, on a grouse moor, just sort of on a path near Edmundbriars, which is in County Durham. And they quite rightly reported that to us, and we went out to pick up the bird. Turned out it was actually still alive, but unable to fly. And the bird was then taken off to be looked at by a vet, and they found on the x-ray it was absolutely peppered with shot, and that its wing, which was all swollen, had been broken because a piece of shot had just smashed through that wing, rendering it unable to fly. So this kite is actually currently fighting for its life. It's being looked after by a really excellent wildlife rehabilitator called Jean Thorpe. Big shout out to Jean. She does an absolutely phenomenal job looking after many, many birds of prey which are sadly found illegally shot or injured in some way in the Yorkshire area. So the kite was taken to her, it's being looked after, given a bit of R&R. As I report to you, it's currently hopping about and it has been feeding, so we're crossing our fingers that that kite will recover. But of course the police are launching an investigation to find out exactly who's responsible for this. Unfortunately, as many of you know, this isn't an isolated incident. This is quite typical of what we're finding. Even in this particular area of County Durham, there were 2 red kites which went missing in suspicious circumstances over the past few years. So yeah, we're just hoping that somebody will be able to come forward and have some information about that. So fingers crossed for that particular kite. So one of the things our team does to try and help tackle raptor persecution is satellite tagging hen harriers. So I have a tag right here. As you can see, they're absolutely tiny and they're really light, and these are fitted to the backs of birds when they're still in the nest as chicks. It has to be exactly the right moment really, sort of end of June, early July, when they're big enough to carry the tag but not too big that they're going to fly off. So what these tags do is transmit data every day, so our scientists receive that data and we can see where the bird is. Once it's fledged the nest, we get a really accurate picture of where it's going, what it's up to, and crucially it also tells us if something goes amiss and also if the bird dies. And this actually happened recently with a bird called Anu, and this bird was sending us regular data. We were really happy with that. And then suddenly, one night, it was roosting on a grouse moor, and hen harriers, just like us, they go to bed at night, they don't move generally. But this tag was sending out lots of strange data showing there was a lot of activity during that night while it was supposed to be roosting. So what we did was the next day, the tag data came through, and sadly, it showed that the bird was likely dead. So that triggered us to go out and look for it. And what we found was really, really strange. We actually found the tag almost 10 kilometres away off the grouse moor, but there was no sign of the bird. And what we saw was that the straps which would have attached the tag to the bird had been cut. So the bird wears it kind of like a harness, and these straps have been cut. And this was confirmed by the police to have been cut deliberately by a human rather than, pulled off or ripped off by a predator. So as you can see, that's incredibly suspicious, and what we believe has happened there is that the bird has been killed and then the tag removed and dumped away from the scene. So our job can be a bit dominated by doom and gloom, but there is some hope on the horizon, which is in the form of licensing, which is coming through in Scotland later this year. And that's really, really vital, and I think hopefully should be quite a turning point. It's something we've been campaigning for a long time, and what it would mean is that estates would have to have a licence to operate, and if criminal activity or unsustainable activity was identified on that estate, it would lose its licence to operate. So this would act as a huge deterrent, potentially more so than the current laws, and hopefully act as a bit of a lifeline for birds of prey and offer them a little bit more protection. So that's fantastic news, and great that the government in Scotland is pushing this through. So we're hopeful that that may in fact be rolled out eventually throughout the rest of the UK.